I, 27 male, live alone. My brother, 21, and his girlfriend, 19, still live with our parents as they can't afford a place of their own. His girlfriend is currently about 4 months pregnant with him. My brother asked to bring his girlfriend for dinner to catch up, and I said, sure, why not? However, the moment she entered my house, she started complaining about the smell of the steak I was making and said just the smell alone made her nauseous and she couldn't eat this. I tried to suggest an alternative, but she was dead set on Chinese food and sent my brother to the nearest mall to get her some. I thought that would be the end of it, but after going to the bathroom and coming back, I caught her throwing my unfinished steak into the garbage. I asked her what the heck she was doing, and she said that the smell was so strong, she thought she'd end up throwing up on the floor, and she needed to get rid of it. Then she started spraying perfume from her purse in my kitchen. I was beyond furious at this point and sent her back to the living room. And after my brother came back from the mall, I kicked them both out with their Chinese food. My brother tried to convince me to let them back and that I could make something else for the two of us, and his girlfriend was pretty much sobbing at this point, but I was dead set on kicking them both out. However, my parents were mad at me for causing my brother's pregnant girlfriend so much distress. I told them that she literally threw away our dinner. However, they said that I shouldn't have yelled at her or kicked them out, as she's still just a teenager who's now getting influenced by her pregnancy hormones, and that my outbursts also caused problems in their relationship, as she ended up sending my brother to sleep on the couch that night, even though he literally defended her as well against me. So I have no clue how this is my fault. Am I the idiot for apparently not having enough tact to deal with a pregnant 19-year-old? Not the idiot. If they're old enough to be parents, they're old enough to act like adults. Apparently, they're not old enough for either. Throwing the steak away wouldn't eliminate the smell anyway, and spraying perfume on top of it wouldn't mask the smell, just make it all worse. I had horrible morning sickness with both of my pregnancies, and I know how awful it can be when just the smell triggers nausea. But throwing out the food isn't the way to deal with it. Excuse me? Throwing away a whole steak in this economy? No, ma'am. Goodbye. I've had 4 pregnancies and never threw out someone else's meal. Did I cry about my own wrong Subway order? Yes, but that's a whole different story. Your brother's girlfriend owes you some steaks. LOL with a shiny example of motherhood. I'm feeling for that kid. My brain is still circling over the Olympic-level mental gymnastics needed to say she's both old enough to be a mother and still just a teenager. Like, pick one. Your parents shouldn't infantilize her now if she's preparing to be a parent herself. Also, I know 7-year-olds with more sense than to throw out someone else's food. 19 is far old enough to have learned that lesson. OP was right. Being pregnant doesn't excuse bad behavior, and parents are infantilizing this woman. They're going to end up with 2 babies in the house. Do you know how she'll learn to act like an adult? By others treating her like an adult, and her seeing adults acting well and dealing with the consequences when they don't. And honestly, I bet the parents just wanted her out of their house for the night, and our angry OP didn't put up with her for a few more hours. For the night? Sounds like they might be looking down the barrel of being full-time babysitters in a few months' time and are not too happy about it. This mother-to-be obviously isn't backward in expecting others to meet her every need. Don't waste energy being mad at them. Just sit back and thank your lucky stars that you got an early warning of an impending disaster. I, 25 female, am getting married in May of next year. I'm currently planning the reception, and I've already secured a venue. I was having a discussion with my fiance, 27 female, about possible food options, catering or cooking, what types of food, buffet style or served, etc. And my mother, 60 female, and one of my aunts, 56, were visiting. They threw in some thoughts and advice, as they've had weddings, which I really appreciate. The topic of drinking came up, and my aunt asked what kind of cocktails we'd be serving. I told her we wouldn't be serving alcohol at the wedding. She was shocked and asked what everyone was going to drink. I told her water, sweet tea, lemonade, fruit punch, and soda would be available. My aunt said soda was a bad idea because it's so unhealthy, and so is sweet tea and overly sugary lemonade and fruit punch. I told her if she was so concerned about the sugar content, she could stick with water, and we plan on having plenty of fresh fruit to add to it. We'd also have unsweetened tea for my diabetic family members, or they're welcome to request and bring a desirable alternative. She asked why alcohol couldn't be a request. I told her I simply didn't want to serve any at my wedding. My fiance and I would be financially responsible for the purchase, and alcohol would frankly be out of our budget, and we'd feel responsible for their actions. She asked if she and the other drinkers of the family could bring their own beer, and said it wouldn't really be a party without one. I said no again, because it was my wedding, and fiance and I would feel responsible for guests drinking. We also want to have a fun and happy wedding, because everyone there loves each other and is happy to celebrate their family and our union. She said it was already a shame I wasn't getting married in a church, and the least I could do was make up for it with a good reception. I told her if she couldn't go one evening without drinking, then maybe she was the one with the problem. At this point, my mom jumped in and told me I needed to apologize. I said no, I didn't appreciate how my aunt had spoken to me, and she needed to leave. They ended up going, but then my aunt complained the next day on Facebook about my dry wedding and said she wasn't going to torture herself driving an hour and a half to my venue just to have a bad time. She also explained how the conversation went the day before and said I called her a drunk for being healthy. I've been getting a lot of messages, some supportive, some on the fence, and some very angry that I want to ruin a good reception by acting like it's the Prohibition era. I'm honestly confused here. Am I the idiot? Edit. My aunt's health comment wasn't about beer. It was about wine. She believes a glass a day is important for maintaining health, and she drinks at least one glass every single day. She's also hopped on the intermittent fasting trend, so I take her health advice with a grain of salt. Also, a cash bar would invariably make this situation worse. My relatives expect me to provide alcohol for free. If I tell them they have to pay, they'll complain more. One of my uncles was arrested last year because the price of his favorite brand of beer went up, and he stole his next 12-pack because he deserved it after how much money he gave to that company. He still thinks the cops in the store were in the wrong. I love that your aunt thinks beer is healthier than lemonade. Her full of sugar argument against lemonade and soda doesn't make sense either. Alcohol is full of sugar too, and that God's preference is you get married in a church and then pay for everyone to get wasted after? Not the idiot. The wedding will be better off without her. You are the idiot. On what high horse do you feel the need to be responsible for other adults' consumption? I don't drink much at all, but I wouldn't go to a dry wedding. Or if I did, I'd go to the ceremony and meal, then leave with half of the other guests to go to a local bar and have an actual party. I wouldn't bring my kids to a wedding sober or not. Why subject a child to what are several hours of torture for them? Your wedding sounds awful to me, so I'm on your aunt's side, but I'll defend your right to make that choice. I went to a dry wedding where the church parking lot was next to a house having a barbecue. Started off with a few uncles splitting a 12-pack in their truck, having small talk with the neighbor, and before you knew it, half the reception was dancing on their driveway, eating carne asada, and partying with some random old Mexican man and his family. Big ouch for the bride on that one. This was an all-time low for me, as usually I'm the problem solver. I shouldn't have said it, but was I wrong in saying it? My husband and I both grew up in foster care and developed two completely different attitudes. I'm humble, problem-solving, generally positive, and a glass-half-full type of woman. He's a life is out to get me, or it'll never get better, glass-half-empty type of man. Not always. Please don't take this as me bashing him. He has gotten better with the help he gets in therapy, but those moments when he collapses and goes back to his negativity are hard to prey drive and is nippy, even with us sometimes. We've bent backward trying to train her, but nothing appears to work. And now, due to her prey drive, we have a hard time being accepted into any other apartment or house, and we're on the verge of eviction after a steep increase in rent, $550 increase. So now we're paying $1,600 for a one-bedroom, nothing included. In the first month of getting Josie, I begged him to rehome her. My foster mom was a dog trainer, and I knew a thing or two about training and temperaments, and I knew that given Josie's breed, we were going to have troubles. He didn't listen because he didn't want to abandon the dog just like he had been abandoned. And now, due to this, we can't find another place to live, and we're slowly going completely broke paying the rent here. We only have $26 to last us until next week and do not have rent money for the next month. He started complaining really heavily yesterday, and I will admit, my tone and attitude were unlike me. He was saying he was sick of living in poverty and was tired of never having money, and I've heard this far too many times. So I told him we were living in poverty because he made the poor choice of getting an aggressive dog with a high prey drive and refusing to rehome her because of his abandonment issues. We had a place lined up months ago that backed out due to the dog. Everyone else says we cannot bring the dog. We can't afford the other ones. He says I'm an idiot for making him feel like crap for refusing to rehome his dog. I'm admittedly feeling pretty crappy for even saying it, but am I wrong? He says he's sick of living in poverty, but went out of his way to get a dog? Let's see. Common cost of owning a dog: food and treats, toys, grooming, vet visits, annual shots, anti-flea and tick and heartworm meds, dental procedures, boarding if you're out of town, etc. Oh yeah, and we're in the middle of an inflation crisis, so the cost for all of these is skyrocketing. Not the idiot. You're correct. Part of being an adult is taking responsibility for your own decisions and realizing that you can make choices that affect your present and future. Your husband has a victim identity and cannot progress until he's out of it. When you're a child, the world can be a dangerous place for some, and he needs to get out of that space. Also, rehoming the dog somewhere that has the space, training, and resources it needs is in the dog's best interest and not the same as abandonment. OP, you are not the idiot for this situation, but you are one to yourself. Is this what you want your life to be? I don't think you can say he's gotten better when his impulses are about to leave you homeless. You're about to be homeless. Screw his feelings. I think it's time for you to decide if this is what you want or if this is someone you want to spend your life with. Someone whose terrible choices are about to make you homeless and he refuses to accept the blame for it. Someone whose feelings are more important than you having $26 that has to last until next week. He has serious issues, but that's where it has to end for you. His issues. Do not let him ruin your life because of his BS. Exactly. And she has to be ready for the manipulation. Go ahead and leave me like everyone else has, guilt trip BS, that he's gonna pull out when she finally calls it quits because he keeps making poor choices and disregards things that don't bring him satisfaction. Some people can't get out of their own way. I moved away at 18 and didn't really talk to my family for various reasons, but I reconnected with them during a sister's wedding. Even started talking to my dad again, who I cut off due to his affair. Saw my dad's affair child, Jack, nearly adult a couple of times, but he was quiet. I figured it was fine, but then I noticed everyone treated him rudely, mostly and usually insulting his intelligence. When he tries to talk, they either zone out or shut him down. I called my sisters out on it once, and they said it was just teasing and they all love him. The main thing since they found out has been teasing him for being unlikely to graduate with the rest of his age group this year. Dad shrugged it off, saying that Jack wasn't too bright anyways. I guess I just made it my mission to help Jack out. It took a lot of convincing, but Jack accepted my help, and after loads of effort and hard work, Jack will be walking the stage. I talked to his school about options, tutored him in things I specialize in, paid for tutoring for things I didn't know very well, helped him set up online classes, joined volunteer programs, etc. He even joined his school's baseball team. Though he's taking a gap year to work on more stuff, I'm so proud of him and his effort, and everyone's faces when they found out that he will, in fact, be graduating was the best. Except now they all want me to tutor their kids. No matter how many times I've said no, they don't stop. They call me a miracle worker and say if I did it for Jack, I could do it for smarter kids. To be honest, I don't care about their kids. They're all fine. And I don't know if this is weird, but I did this for Jack. This is how we got close, and I want it to remain our thing. My aunt begged me to help her daughter that's failing some class yesterday, and I was tired and upset because I didn't want to be where I was. Then my dad joined in, saying I could cut some of my Jack time. I was still helping him to help his niece. I snapped at them. I went, I don't want to help your stupid kids. Jesus, go hire a real tutor and stop bothering me. I didn't mean to swear so much, but my aunt was horrified. My dad got upset and asked me if I was only pretending to be educated because I certainly didn't sound like I was. He told me that he didn't want me in his house if I was so upset at the thought of helping my family. Am I the idiot? Because I don't think so. I admit I may be a little selfish, but I just don't have the energy or desire. Jack fails. Oh, he's just stupid. There's no helping that. Aunt's little angel fails. Oh no, my poor baby is struggling. Drop everything for her. The double standards are staggering. Not the idiot. Tell your dad that if he's so big on helping the family, he certainly didn't show it when Jack needed help. Explain you only got so angry because answering the same question repeatedly made you think that everyone apart from Jack in your family is a bit slow because clearly they don't understand no. Say it's just frustration from dealing with a special needs family that just doesn't learn because they're clearly not very bright. Give them a double dose of what Jack has put up with for years. Good on you for helping your brother. Oh God, please, send a group text saying this, then go no contact again with everyone except Jack. Offered a finger and they wanted the whole hand. No, just because you helped one doesn't mean you must help others. Your aunt can help her daughter, or another family member could do it. Aunt is responsible for her family. It's not right she dumps, or tries to, the burden on you. Be firm. You're busy enough. No time. Aunt can pay for tutoring from someone else.